Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear. We're looking at an LV2 on the table right here. Plus we have the Bluetooth board, the MME Bluetooth board that you can put into the LV2 setup to allow it to connect to the ePortal Lite software. And then you can do all your programming through your phone right here. So there's a couple things you want to do. First, before you even put the board in, hook your gun up to your computer and update the firmware on your board to the latest version of the firmware. I believe right now it's 1.24, I think, is what the latest version is. So you'll need to download the ePortal 4 software or program for your computer, hook your LV2 up to that, and then make sure your software is the latest version. I checked this one before I went over this install earlier, and it had like version 1.02, and it won't connect properly to the phone if you have that on there. So you want to make sure that you have the latest version of the firmware for the LV2 before you even try to do the setup on here. So that's what you want to do. So first thing, update your firmware to the latest version through the ePortal 4 software on your computer. Once you've done that, then you can do the Bluetooth install on here. So we've got a Bluetooth module right here. We've got our gun. We're going to do it. And it's not hard to do. The install is really, really straightforward. So we're going to take our grips off. Then we'll actually come in a little bit here so you can see a little bit better. We're going to take the battery out. We're going to disconnect. Technically, I guess you could probably do this without disconnecting all the wiring, but it's much easier. Just disconnect all 4 pins or all 4 sockets. So it's just easier to work with. So I've got all the sockets disconnected. And then we're going to push the board out from the back side. Now there's 2 little spots right here where you can push the board up through, and then also right here you can push on the board, and we can slide the board up and out. We're going to bring that out. So there's actually, in this stack, there's 3 different boards in here. There's a board here, and then the module that we're going to replace, which is sandwiched in between the 2 boards. So we're going to remove this board, this long board, from this long board over here. Now, when you remove these, you don't want to bend any of the pins. And this is a little grommet that I pulled out of there. It's a little spacer that goes down in here. So you want to take that off too. You don't want to bend anything. So I would recommend not trying to rotate this back and forth to get it out, because the pins are going to want to bend this way and so forth. So we're just going to kind of walk the board up. I'm going to slowly try to spread the board apart. And I'm just going to do little bits at a time until I can pop it off of there. And you want to make sure that these pins right here are still nice and straight on there. They haven't bent in any way. So just be careful with that. All right. Once we have this board off, here's our other board. We're going to pop this one out. So this is the original board that was on there. And again, gentle with that board. Pop that one out just in case you ever want to put that board back in there. I don't know why you would want to put it back in there, but okay, so now we've got our Bluetooth board. If you're ever wondering which is which, you can just flip them over and look at them. That one right there, this is our new one with this extra chip right there, and that one doesn't have it. So this is our new Bluetooth module right here. We'll put that off to the side, or we'll put it on our foam over here. Now we are going to sandwich this one, or connect it to this lower board using the pins where the other one came out of. And I'm going to make sure that all my pins are lined up before I push down inside there. We don't want any issues. So there we go. Push that one down in. Take our first board, line those pins up, look around, make sure that all our pins are lined up. Then we push that one down together as well. And there we go. We've put our sandwich board back together. Put our grommet at the bottom. Make sure our wiring is out of the way. And then we can slide that back down in there. And then we can go ahead and reconnect everything. So this is our jumper wire that goes from our power board up there. We've got, I believe that's our micro switch or our solenoid, one of the two. Maybe this is our micro switch. And then our eye wires connected back down in there. Take our battery, put our battery back in, and then we're going to power on the board. Put our grips back on. Oops, I shut it off. All right, board's going to power on. The first thing we want to do once the board is in there is we want to go into the settings. We want to go into the hardware setting. And then we want to go to where it says factory. And then we want to go to restore. And we're going to do that. And then it's going to say BLE setup on there. So this is going to configure the board to set up for the Bluetooth. And then we can go, oops. We'll go back to the start, and then we'll go back in to hardware again. And then the Bluetooth option, we want to turn our Bluetooth on. And then we can go back. And then we can go, oh, you know what? Actually, there's something you'll probably want to look at also. So let's go back into hardware one more time. And then we're going to go into all the way down to where it says pin code and see if there's a pin code set up on this one. This one says 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if that's the way they come factory. That's the way this one was. But you're going to need that pin code for the ePortal Lite to connect back and forth. If it's just zeros on there, I don't think you'll need it. But if it actually has a code in it like this one does, then you're going to need to put that in. It won't connect if it doesn't know what the code is on there. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll remember that. And then we can just get out of there. So we'll go back. And then we can exit all the way out. And now we're back right there. And another thing you can check to make sure your Bluetooth is working properly is once you've turned the Bluetooth on in the settings, if you pop the grips off, the rear grip, every couple seconds, like every 3 seconds, I believe, you should see a blue light flash right there. That means that Bluetooth module is functioning. If you have the Bluetooth setting off, that won't be flashing in there. So you got to make sure that that is turned on. All right. Now, we can go in here. We can go in here. And then we can look for our marker. We're going to go to Discovery. We've got this one right here. It says what it is right there. We're going to connect to it. It doesn't show that there's any pin code on there, so I want to try something. I'm going to try to connect, and then I'm going to go to parameters. And it says right here, pin code is incorrect. So I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Discover. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to pin codes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. Now I'm going to try to connect. It does connect to it. And then if I go to parameters, everything comes in right now. It's all set up on there, ready to go. So all my parameters are on there. Everything is looking correct. I can go in and I can change all these things around. So if I wanted to change my firing mode, I'm trying to get that out of the way of this glare that's right there. Here we go. I can go into semi-auto, and then I can change firing mode. I can go into all the presets. If I wanted to change any of that stuff around, if you wanted to go like into PSP fast or whatever it happens to be, they're going to come semi-10 usually. And then all the options for all your ramping, everything is inside here that you want to trade or change. And if you did want to change something like your firing mode, you want to go to ramping, and then you just send that to the marker, and that has transferred that data over right there. So it's not hard to do. Obviously, there's a couple steps you want to take before you do this. Make sure that your firmware is up to date. Even though this is a brand new LV2 that we took right out of the box, the firmware was not the most current version on there. So if you have an LV2, update your firmware to the latest one before you try to do this. Or if you're not even putting the Bluetooth, you should just update the firmware anyway. It's free to do. So you just need to get the program from the Planet Eclipse website right there. And that's it. And when we're done, we can go back. We can disconnect. There's a button up here, disconnect. And that's it. We're ready to rock and roll. So super simple to do, really easy. Just being able to now navigate the menus of the LV2 or CS3. It makes it super, super simple to do. And you're not poking around with buttons. Everything's right there. All the parameters are right there. Very simple to understand and interface with. So I definitely recommend it. Make it easier on yourself. Get the setup. Do the updates. It's really simple and really easy. It's pretty cool. So this is the install for the MME Bluetooth board into the LV2. It already comes in the CS3, so you don't need to buy it for that. But ready to rock and roll. Make sure you have all the things updated, and it's very, very simple. So get yours today at ANSgear.com.